some of our favorite Tigers players were at the Historic Hamtramck Stadium for a big announcement. But to tell you about that announcement, it's not going to be me. We have with us Mike Wilson to tell you more. He is the president of Friends of the Historic Hamtramck Stadium. So, good morning, Mike. How are you today?
Hey, I'm terrific, Erica. Good morning.
Good morning. So, tell us about this announcement.
Yeah, we this past Tuesday we had our groundbreaking event ceremony. It was a celebration of sorts for our grandstand development project. It's a $2.6 million collaborative, and so we had the Tigers on hand, which, as you mentioned, Chris Ilitch was there. We had Wayne County Commissioner Warren Evans. Brenda Lawrence was here, our Congresswoman. We had, it was a lot of dignitaries there that were on the podium and spoke that day. And it was a terrific event for the community and the region as a whole to see one of 5 Negro League stadiums in the country starting to literally grow roots and come back to life.
So, as you just said, it's one of only 5 Negro League stadiums that is still left standing. But as the years go on, there's fewer and fewer people around who even got to see the Negro Leagues. So, before we continue, can you just explain what exactly the Negro Leagues were and why they came to be originally?
Yeah, the Negro Leagues was provided an opportunity for Negroes or African Americans at that particular time to be able to get paid playing the game that they loved. These individuals were immensely talented and gifted, and during the segregation era, they were not able to be able to play because of discrimination or racism at that particular time. Now these guys were good enough to play, but they didn't have the opportunity. So an individual by the name of Rube Foster, who's he's kind of the father of black baseball. In 1919, he ended up coming to Detroit actually, and he came and saw the Detroit Stars play a game on April the 20th at Mack Park in 1919, and he was enamored by that particular team, the Detroit Stars, and he ended up putting together a conglomerate of teams throughout the Midwest and the South at that particular time that became the Negro National League. They started their inaugural season in 1920. So last year, May 15th, was the 100-year anniversary of the Negro National League, of which the Detroit Stars were one of the inaugural teams.
Yeah, so next week, the New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox are going to be playing a game at the Field of Dreams Stadium in Iowa, and this is where we know the movie Field of Dreams was filmed in 1989. So what about going to the Tigers and saying how it would be like for them to be able to play a game at Hamtramck Stadium wearing the Detroit Stars uniforms? Has that been discussed? Is that something we can see happening?
That conversation hasn't taken place yet. I was kind of laying some subtle hints out there Tuesday with Chris Ilitch, but we've got a lot of different things in the works as far as the opportunities for baseball to be played, even an opportunity for, I don't know if you're aware of it, but the Michigan Wolverines, they play a benefit game every year against Vanderbilt University, and it's kind of a benefit tribute game to David Johnson, who was the first African-American athletic director at an SEC school. He was at Vanderbilt, but David is from Detroit. He passed away a couple years ago, and they designed this benefit game to be played in Nashville and also one to be played in our area, for which Michigan and Vanderbilt will compete. And we're looking at the possibility of those teams competing at Hamtramck Stadium for a benefit game, and of course, donning or playing with the Negro League uniforms on.
So, Mike, now the renovations that did begin this week, could you get into some detail on exactly how the stadium's going to change and how it's going to be more friendly for the fans that are going to come out to the stadium?
Yeah, the grandstand, which was again built, well, the stadium itself and the grandstand, which was built originally in 1930, has been dormant for close to 30 years now. So this rehabilitation project for the grandstands, again, is an incredible collaborative. It will seat between 2,500 and 3,000 fans. There will be brand new roof. It will be new masonry in the front in terms of the brick at the backstop in the front. They'll have also new seating. The structure in terms of the pillars, all of that will be repainted. We'll also have new ramps put in, and also partition seating, box seating in the front. We'll be adding 3 new rows of partition seating on each corner in the front for ADA handicap seating. And so it's going to be a tremendous facelift for the stadium as a whole. Last year, during COVID, we resurfaced the entire field itself. So the field is a natural turf field, and we resurfaced it with new sod, new seating in the outfield, which has Kentucky bluegrass, which is what Major League ballparks have. And then our clay sand mix in the infield is made of a composition called Dura Edge out of Pennsylvania, which is resident in 18 different Major League ballparks across the country. So we're talking about a state-of-the-art facility for baseball here in Hamtramck and the Detroit metropolitan area.
Yeah, the amount that was listed at says about $2.6 million of funds are available for the renovation. Now, how did you come to garner those funds from the Wayne County and from the Detroit Tigers? Did they reach out to you? Did you have to reach out to them? Did it take some years, or how'd that work?
Yeah, it's taken a few years, especially with the fact that COVID, really pushed us back anywhere from 12 to 18 months. This project was supposed to be closer to completion last year, but even with that, we're still looking at even with the grandstand and the field rehabilitation project being completed this year, we're also trying to, as we speak, also add state-of-the-art dugouts, foul poles, fencing, border fencing around the dugouts and outfield fencing. And then we also would like to implement custom bathrooms or restrooms. And then hopefully we're hoping next year to also add lights. I don't know if you're aware of it, but the first night game in the state of Michigan actually took place, believe it or not, at Historic Hamtramck Stadium, not at the old stadium or Tiger Stadium. It took place at Historic Hamtramck Stadium, but those lights were torn down, I believe, in the 50s. And our goal is to also implement lights next year for that stadium.
One of the famous players that played under those lights was Turkey Stearns. Not only is that a great name, but a great story behind. Could you just tell us a little about Turkey Stearns? I saw his daughter was over at the ceremony the other day.
Yes. Norman Turkey Stearns is one of the greatest baseball players in the history of baseball, for that matter. I mean, he's one of 17 players that played at Historic Hamtramck Stadium that are in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Norman Turkey Stearns played for the Detroit Stars for the bulk of his career, but which started in 1923 with the Detroit Stars. But Norman Turkey Stearns played for Detroit Stars, for the Chicago American Giants, and he played for the Kansas City Monarchs. And Norman Turkey Stearns actually has more home runs than anybody in the history of the Negro Leagues, the records show. Now, many people talk about the major exploits of Josh Gibson being a home run hitter and saying that he hit home runs as far as Babe Ruth, which he did. But in terms of total home runs, Norman Turkey Stearns won 7 home run titles, batting titles in the Negro Leagues. So he was a prolific player, to say the least.
From those games, what kind of history is still around? I mean, are there actual box scores that were filled out at the time? Are there photographs? Is there any film footage of the Negro League games, especially the ones that were played at Hamtramck Stadium?
Yeah, they didn't get the consistent coverage from in terms of the media or recording of their records and their games. Like I said, box scores on a consistent basis. So some of those records are somewhat scattered, but I think you may have learned that this past spring, Major League Baseball now is adding the Negro League records to Major League Baseball records. So those players that played during that era, those records are being added to the Major League Baseball records and tabulation. So, but as a whole, as you mentioned, even video footage is very, very hard to get, very scarcely available. I saw a piece that Ken Burns did a couple years ago that has some footage, but overall the footage is very, very hard to find. It's extremely scarce, unfortunately, because again, those guys were immensely gifted and talented.
Something that I don't think people realize is that Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier in the major leagues, but he started out in the Negro Leagues. Did he ever play at Hamtramck Stadium?
You know what? He didn't, unfortunately. Jackie played an exhibition, I believe in 1951 at that particular time, where the Negro Leagues was still in existence here in the area, but the games were being played at what's called DeQuinder Park at that particular time. And Jackie played an exhibition when he was with the Dodgers at DeQuinder Park. So unfortunately, yeah, he didn't get a chance to play at Historic Hamtramck Stadium, but the Satchel Pages, the Cool Papa Bells, Josh Gibson, yeah, they all played there. Yeah.
So one thing I want to ask you, and this is a little bit off topic, backtracking, but more personal about you. How did you originally get involved and become the president of Historic Hamtramck Stadium? Because obviously this means so much to you and all this great stuff that's happening. So I just want to know a little more about your personal background in this and how much it really does mean to you because of that.
Yeah, Erica, originally I was born in Hamtramck. My dad used to take me to, and my dad coached in the city of Detroit. He had a cup of coffee in the Negro Leagues, but he coached in the city of Detroit for over 40 years. He coached myself and many individuals in the city of Detroit in Little League, and he coached semi-pro. But I was fortunate enough to be drafted by the Detroit Tigers in 1976. Played minor league ball for a few years and played over in Mexico for a couple years. But I migrated to Southern California when I got signed, so I could work out in the off season and play winter ball. But I came back home in 1997 and coached for years while I was in California and coached here high school ball. And I started a baseball academy. We ran it for 7 years. It was called the Woodbridge Baseball Academy near Wayne State University. And when that closed down, and we had to close it down, we lost our facilities in 2016. But Gary Gillette, who's the board chairman for the Friends of Historic Hamtramck Stadium, asked me to come on the board, and I was delighted to come on board and be a part of the initiative. And then they asked me to be president about a year and a half ago. And so last year, I spearheaded the rehabilitation project for the field, and now I'm continue to do that, continue to work to that end. So yeah, that's how I got involved, and that's my background.
Well, I'm glad I asked you that because that is a fantastic background and I did not know all that. But now I have to ask you just a couple more things before we have to let you go. But are you still a Tigers fan? And if so, have the last few years been hard for you to see such an incredible, historic team be in kind of a slump like this? Or are you used to always having to see your teams be high and low? What is that like for you?
Yeah, being a former player, being involved in the organization, I've got an affinity for the Tigers and really want to see them do well. People like Willie Horton, who took me under his wing when I signed many years ago, and Gates Brown and some of those old timers, have really instilled, in me to be really a diehard Detroit Tiger fan. So even seeing some of the African American players come up, like Akil Badu, which got to meet at the ceremony, the groundbreaking ceremony the other day. I'm excited about these young players coming up. Casey Mize and Schoolboy, the pitcher, and Manning. I mean, they've got a great group coming up, and some in the minor leagues right now. So this particular region has got to be extremely excited about what the Tigers are doing, and the fact that I believe that they're gonna really turn things around in the next few years. They're gonna be fighting and competing for a pennant here in Detroit.
I agree completely, and I will say I'm a huge Red Sox fan, but I did go earlier this season when the Yankees were in town, and Casey Mize was facing Garrett Cole, and Casey Mize took the win, so that was exciting. If you're a rookie and you can beat a guy like that, you're doing something right, but really good things to come.
True.
Absolutely, always, and I want to see anyone beat the Yankees, but really good things to come with that. It's been so great talking to you. Always so great to talk about baseball and all these great things happening with Historic Hamtramck Stadium. So thank you so much. Good luck with everything, and we cannot wait to see this success continue.
Thanks, Erica and Larry. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and be able to discuss the stadium and the progress that is currently taking place.